Selena had a habit of sitting by the window long after the city had gone quiet. Austin never really slept, but her street did. By midnight, the noise softened into something distant. Occasional headlights slid across her ceiling, stretching shadows that disappeared just as quickly as they came. It felt like watching time pass in fragments, visible, but untouchable. She liked that feeling. Or at least, she told herself she did. Because stillness meant she didn't have to decide anything. Her apartment wasn't bad. It was the kind of place you justify easily. Cheap enough to stay, clean enough to not complain. Close enough to everything you needed, but not close enough to anything you truly wanted. A neutral life in physical form. There was a small dining table she rarely used, a couch that had molded itself to her posture, and a desk that held more unfinished ideas than completed work. The desk bothered her the most. Not because it was messy, but because it was honest. Sticky notes with half-written plans. A notebook with pages that started strong and ended abruptly. A pen that had run out of ink mid-sentence weeks ago, never replaced. Every object there told the same story: you start things, but you don't follow through. Her phone buzzed. Another notification. Another reminder of a world that seemed to be moving forward without her permission. She picked it up instinctively. Scroll. 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 People launching businesses. Moving cities. Posting milestones. Sharing polished moments of clarity and success. Selena felt something tighten in her chest. Not jealousy. Not exactly. Something quieter. Something heavier. Like standing outside a room where everyone else had figured something out, and no one thought to explain it to you. "I'm just confused," she whispered. It came out naturally. Too naturally. Like a sentence she had practiced so many times, it no longer needed thought. The truth was, Selena had built her life around that word. Confused. It gave her space. It gave her permission to delay. It gave her a reason to stay exactly where she was without having to admit she was choosing it. Because confusion sounds temporary. It sounds like something that will pass on its own. It sounds like progress, even when nothing is actually changing. Her alarm rang at 7 a.m. She didn't move. 7:05, still nothing. 7:12, she reached for her phone without opening her eyes. Silence. 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes had turned into her entire life. By 8:03, she was sitting at her desk with coffee that was too sweet and too hot. Her laptop screen glowed. Inbox, 27 unread emails. Slack messages blinking. Calendar notifications stacked one after another. She sighed. Not because it was overwhelming, but because it was predictable. Her job wasn't terrible. That's what made it dangerous. If it had been unbearable, she would have left. If it had been exciting, she would have stayed with intention. But it existed in the middle. Comfortable enough to keep. Empty enough to slowly drain her. "Morning, Selena," her manager typed in the team chat. "Morning," she replied instantly. Professional. Polite. Present. A version of herself that knew exactly what to do. For the next few hours, she moved efficiently. Replying to emails. Updating reports. Fixing minor campaign issues. On the surface, she looked focused. But underneath, her mind drifted constantly. To something else. To something unfinished. At 11:47 a.m. she opened a tab she hadn't touched in months. A folder. Untitled _project _V3. She stared at the name. Even the title felt hesitant. Like she had never fully committed to it being real. Inside were fragments of a different version of her life. Brand ideas. Color palettes. A rough business concept she once believed in deeply. She clicked through slowly. Each file felt like opening a door she had intentionally closed. There it was. A document titled, "Why This Matters." She hesitated before opening it. Then clicked. The first line read, "I don't want to wake up feeling like I'm waiting for my life to start." She froze. Her throat tightened slightly. Because nothing had changed. Not really. She scrolled further. "I want something that feels like mine. I want to build something real, even if it's small. I don't want comfort if it costs me my potential." She closed the document abruptly. Her heart was beating faster now. "No," she whispered. "Not right now." She minimized the folder. Switched back to work. Typed faster. Focused harder. As if productivity could silence truth. It worked. For a while. At 2:15 p.m. her manager scheduled an unexpected meeting. "Quick check-in," the message said. She joined. Camera off. Mic muted. Listening. "We're expanding," her manager said. "More clients, more opportunities. I think this is a great time for everyone to step up." Selena's stomach tightened. She knew what was coming. "Selena, you've been doing great work. I'd love for you to take on an additional account." There it was. Opportunity. Or, distraction. Her mind moved quickly. Say yes. This is good for your career. Say yes. This is stability. Say yes. This is what responsible people do. But underneath those thoughts was something quieter. More honest. If you say yes, you're choosing this. "Yeah, I can do that," she heard herself say. Automatic. Unquestioned. Safe. The meeting ended. Her screen returned to silence. But something inside her didn't settle. She leaned back in her chair. Stared at the ceiling. And for the first time, she didn't feel confused. She felt aware. Aware that she had just made a decision. Not out of clarity. But out of avoidance. That evening, Maya called. Selena almost didn't answer. But she did. "You sound tired," Maya said immediately. "I am," Selena replied. "Work?" Selena hesitated. Then said what she always said. "I don't know. I'm just confused about everything." Silence. Then Maya sighed softly. "Selena," she said carefully, "can I ask you something without you getting defensive?" Selena laughed lightly. "That depends. Are you actually confused, or are you avoiding making a hard choice?" The question landed heavier than expected. Selena didn't respond right away. Her instinct was to deflect. To laugh. To change the subject. But something stopped her. "I don't know," she said quietly. But this time, it didn't feel like the same sentence. It felt weaker. Less believable. After the call ended, Selena sat in silence. No TV. No music. No distractions. Just her thoughts. Maya's question echoed. "Are you confused, or are you avoiding something?" Selena stood up. Walked to her desk. Opened the folder again. Untitled _project _V3. This time, she didn't hesitate. She opened everything. Every file. Every note. Every unfinished idea. And something strange happened. The more she looked, the less confused she felt. Because the truth wasn't missing. It was buried. Under fear. Under hesitation. Under the comfort of not choosing. She sat down slowly, her heart steady now. Not racing. Not panicking. Just, present. "I know what I want," she said out loud. The words felt unfamiliar. But right. And with that realization came something else. Something heavier than confusion. Responsibility. Because once you admit you know, you can't hide anymore. She grabbed a notebook. Drew a line down the middle. On one side, she wrote, stay. Stable income. Predictable routine. Low risk. Slow dissatisfaction. On the other side, change. Uncertainty. Fear. Possible failure. Growth. Ownership. She stared at both sides for a long time. Minutes passed. Maybe more. Neither option felt easy. But only one felt honest. Her phone buzzed again. A message from work. Another task. Another reminder of the path she had been automatically choosing. She didn't open it. Not immediately. Instead, she looked at her reflection in the dark window. Faint. Blurry. But there. I've been calling it confusion, she said quietly. But it's not. She paused. I've been avoiding the hard choice. And for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel stuck. She felt exposed. Because confusion protects you. But clarity? Clarity demands something in return. Action. She closed her notebook slowly. Not with a decision. But with something more important. Awareness. And awareness changes everything. Even before you take the first step. The next morning didn't feel dramatic. There was no sudden clarity. No rush of confidence. No cinematic moment where everything made sense. Selena still woke up late. Still reached for her phone. Still stared at the ceiling longer than she needed to. But something had changed. Not outside. Inside. She couldn't lie to herself anymore. That was the difference. At 8:11 a.m. she sat at her desk with her usual coffee. Same sweetness. Same heat. Same routine. But this time, it didn't feel neutral. It felt chosen. And that made it heavier. Her inbox loaded. More emails. More tasks. More expectations. She stared at the screen longer than usual. Because now she understood something uncomfortable. None of this was happening to her. She was allowing it. Her manager's message sat at the top. Excited to have you lead the new client. Let's discuss strategy today. Selena read it twice. Last night, she had said yes without thinking. Today, she felt the weight of that yes. Her mind immediately tried to protect her. It's fine. You can handle it. You're overthinking. Don't make things complicated. But another voice, quieter, steadier, cut through. If you keep choosing this, nothing changes. She leaned back in her chair. Closed her eyes. And for a moment, she imagined her life 6 months from now. Same desk. Same work. Same quiet dissatisfaction. Just, more of it. Her chest tightened. Not from anxiety. From recognition. Selena opened her eyes. Looked at the message again. And this time, she didn't rush. She didn't react. She chose. Her fingers moved slowly across the keyboard. Hey, I've been thinking about my workload. I don't think I can take on the new client right now and still do my best work. She stopped. Read it again. Her heart beat faster. This wasn't quitting. This wasn't rebellion. It was something much smaller. But much harder. It was honesty. She hit send. And immediately felt the familiar urge to panic. What if they think you're not committed? What if this affects your position? What if you regret this? She didn't try to silence the thoughts. She let them exist. But she didn't obey them. Because for the first time, Selena understood something clearly: fear doesn't disappear when you make the right choice. It just loses control over it. The reply came 20 minutes later. No problem. Appreciate you being upfront. That was it. No drama. No consequences. Just acceptance. Selena stared at the screen. A small, almost laugh escaped her. All that fear, for this? That's when it hit her, she hadn't been avoiding risk. She had been avoiding discomfort. And they weren't the same. That evening, instead of collapsing into her usual routine, she opened her laptop again. Not for work. For herself. The folder was still there. Untitled _project _v3. But it didn't feel like an idea anymore. It felt like a decision waiting to be made. She opened a blank document. The cursor blinked. Waiting. In the past, this was where she would freeze. Overthink. Plan endlessly without acting. But tonight felt different. She typed, version 1. It doesn't need to be perfect. Then she kept going. Her ideas weren't polished. They weren't complete. But they were real. And real was something she hadn't allowed herself to have before. An hour passed. Then 2. She didn't notice, because for the first time in a long time, she wasn't trying to escape her life. She was building it. The next few days were uncomfortable. Not because anything went wrong. But because everything felt new. After work, instead of numbing herself with scrolling, she worked on her idea. Some days she made progress. Some days she stared at the screen, unsure. Some days she doubted everything. But she showed up anyway. That was new too. A week later, she hit her first real wall. Nothing was working. Her ideas felt weak. Her motivation dropped. And the old thoughts came back stronger than ever. This is pointless. You're not good enough for this. You were better off just sticking to your job. She sat in silence. Hands still. Mind loud. This was the moment she used to quit. Not dramatically. Quietly. Convincing herself it was logical. But this time, she paused. And asked herself one question, am I actually incapable, or am I just uncomfortable? The answer came quickly. Uncomfortable. So she kept going. Not because she felt confident. But because she understood something deeper now, progress isn't built on certainty. It's built on refusal to stop. Weeks turned into a rhythm. Work, then build. Doubt. Then continue. Fear. Then act anyway. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't exciting every day. But it was consistent. And consistency did something unexpected. It started to replace her identity. She was no longer the person who almost starts things. She was becoming someone who continues. One evening, Maya visited. They sat by the same window. Same view. Same city. But Selena felt different sitting there. More present. Less distant. You look lighter, Maya said. Selena smiled slightly. Not lighter. Just clearer. So you figured everything out? Maya asked. Selena shook her head. No. She looked out the window. I just stopped pretending I didn't know what I needed to do. Maya nodded slowly. Like she understood more than Selena had said. Is it working? Maya asked. Selena paused. Thought about it. It's hard, she said honestly. But at least it's honest. And that was enough. Months passed. Not quickly. Not dramatically. Just steadily. Selena's project grew. Slowly. Messily. But undeniably. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't profitable yet. But it existed outside her mind. And that changed everything. One afternoon, she made another decision. Bigger this time. She reduced her work hours. Less income. More time. More pressure. This one scared her. Not in theory. In reality. Because now, there were consequences. Bills didn't shrink just because she chose differently. Time didn't guarantee success. But she did it anyway. And for the first time, her life felt aligned. Not safe. Not certain. But aligned. There were hard days. Days she questioned everything. Days she missed the simplicity of not trying, but she never went back to calling it confusion. Because now she knew the truth, confusion had never been the problem. Avoidance had. One night, she sat in her apartment again. Same space. Same window. Same quiet street. But everything felt different. Not because her life was perfect. But because it was hers. She whispered softly, "I was never confused." She paused. Looked around. "I was just afraid of choosing a life that required more from me." And now? She was choosing it anyway.